Hi, welcome to our course on 10 things that you are doing wrong in Excel. In this course, I will teach you why each of these mistakes is very critical and how you can stop these to make your work easier. This is a short course, extremely beginner friendly. We have at every step tried to illustrate how you can spot these mistakes and how you can quickly fix them. Just building these kind of best practices when you initially start working with data will really hold you in good stead as you move forward in your career, because these tiny mistakes can really pile up on top of each other and just add a lot of extra hours in having to pre-process your data, clean your data, or ultimately spend a lot more time jumping through hoops and writing complicated formulae in order to perform simple operations. So let's not waste any time and jump right into the course. Mistake number one, perhaps the most obvious one and yet the most frequently repeated. And this is that you don't look at your data. Strangely enough, this is a mistake that we see absolute beginners doing, but also people who have been working with data for a long time and have a lot of experience. So throughout this course, what I will do is I will list each mistake and then illustrate how we can fix that through an actual spreadsheet that we will use. So let's move on to the spreadsheet. So here you can see I have some data available. And typically what I would do is that before I start working on this data, I will spend a couple of minutes just looking at the various rows and columns and trying to understand what is included in this spreadsheet. So over here, you will notice that we have, it starts off here. I have columns A to I, so 9 columns, and then I have 15 rows of data. And I'm just looking at the data and I'm trying to figure out what this is. And it seems that we have names of a few employees. We have their gender and which country they're in. We have their dates of joining. I can see whether this employee is an employee or is a contractual worker. I can see what department they're a part of. And I can see here something which looks like a designation, and then we have the years of experience. So this is just a quick way for you to firstly get familiar with the data that you're working on. And it's really important that this is the first thing you do before you move on to doing any operations on the sheet. And let's jump into mistake number 2. Again, a common one. And this is that you don't label your columns. And let's look at how this is something which we can fix in the spreadsheet that we are using in our project. So here we have the Excel sheet, and you can see that we have these 2 columns here where we don't have any headers. So it's really important that before you start working on any data, you have column headers for each of your columns, and this is really important to do because without this you will not be able to perform a large number of operations on this table. So a couple of things to keep in mind over here. Firstly, all of your column headers should be different from each other, so they should be distinct values, and they should ideally be something which you can read and quickly understand what is the data within that column. So here in column F, where I don't have a header, it seems that these values are defining the kind of relationship that the person has with the company. So it's either an employee or he's a contractual worker. So maybe what I'll do is I'll call it employment type. And this column H seems to be quite clear, and it seems that these are designations. So I'm going to call this designations. And that's it. We've fixed all of our column headers. Each of our column headers seem to be quite descriptive. So employee ID, employee name, gender, country, date of joining, employee type, department, designations, and years of experience. So all distinct values and all descriptive values. And that's how you fix mistake number 2. Jumping into mistake number 3, and this is another common one. In fact, this is something that you will notice extremely frequently. It is the bane of any data scientist's life, and I just hate it when I get data which has merged fields. And look at our spreadsheet over here. So you can see that in this spreadsheet, I have this column called department, where it just says operations. So all of these rows have been clubbed together under one cell, and it says operations. And then so and so forth for sales and for technology. And what this does is that when you have merged fields, it becomes really difficult for you to sort and filter your data. And also, you can't just quickly pick up this value and take it elsewhere, because this doesn't have any distinct value. So this makes it very, very hard to work with data. And the first thing that you want to do is unmerge these fields. So what I will do right now is essentially just click on the merged cell over here. And over here it says merge and center. I will click on this, and it will take the value to the topmost cell over here. I'm going to copy it and then just paste it in all of these cells. And yes, this is not the most elegant way to perform something like this, and there are other ways that you can do this, which are a little bit more complicated, but that's not what is in the scope of this course. Here we are just telling you what are these common mistakes to look out for, and why it's really important for you to fix them. So I fixed it for operations and sales, and again for technology, I'm clicking on the merge cell. I go and click on merge and center. My value gets moved to the topmost cell now, and Control C to copy. And then I select all the cells where this value should exist, and I Control V. And what it does is it just repeats the same value in all of these cells, so that I no longer have merged cells. Mistake number 4, you have inconsistent data types. So when you're working in a spreadsheet and with any kind of data, you can have data which is numerical, you can have data which is like a text. It's really important for you to have this kind of consistency within all the data within a certain column. Looking at our own spreadsheet over here, you can see that, so let's look at the first column. This seems to be okay. So all my data looks quite similar. My employee names seem to be okay as well. And then let's move on to maybe the last one, which is years of experience. And here you can see that if I wanted to just see what are the years of experience that each person has, here it says 9 years, 6 months, which is clearly a text value, and I cannot perform any mathematical operations on it, while here it says 4.19, which is a numeric value. And an easy way to spot this is by seeing how the data is aligned. So text values will typically align to this side, while your numerical values will align to this side. And what I will do over here is, just to bring in this consistency, I'm going to convert my 9 years, 6 months into 9.5. And unfortunately, there is no very easy way to do this. I mean, when you're working with very large data, you can probably write a little script to fix it. But because we have such few rows, we can just do this manually. So 9.5, and I can see the rest of it is okay. Here it says 6 years, and I can just convert this into a 6 and remove the years. Similarly, over here, it actually has skipped the year format altogether, and it just says 12 months. So I can convert this into 12. So now all my numbers look like numbers, and we have fixed this mistake. Now some of you may have spotted a little glitch in the data that I was fixing in the last video, where we still had a few errors in our data, which is again another common mistake that we find, which is the mistake number 5, and that is you have unrecognized or corrupt characters. Looking at our Excel sheet, we can see that this little bit over here is still text, because it's got these hash characters which are unrecognized, and that makes this data different from the rest of the data. So let's just fix that by deleting the special characters, and you will notice that I have something similar going on in the country field. So my country field has int ##, it has US at and over here. So let's quickly fix that as well. So I'm moving that to India, and again I'm picking up the USA value and replacing these characters with that, and that will fix our corrupt characters. Now when we start working with a lot of data, it becomes really important to have data that you can read easily and which is also presentable, and you're easily able to make out the differences between the various values. And this is something which can be fixed by keeping in mind a common mistake, which is that your values are not formatted consistently. Looking at our own data over here, you can, let's illustrate this by looking at the date of joining column. So here you can see that there are some dates of joining which look like 21/12/2014. And then this one says 14th June 2017. And then these over here are just numbers, and I don't even know what that means. And what you can do is that when you click on this cell, just look over here and you will see the kind of data type that it is. And this one is a date format, this one is also a date format, but these are in the general format. So the first thing we will do is select these three cells, click over here and convert them into a short date format. So we can see that now these look like dates and we are able to read these values as well. But let's quickly do one more thing and make sure that all of our Decembers look like either 12 or they are written as the exact word. So you have to pick a type of format and then stick with it throughout your sheet. So in this case, I'm going to just select all of these cells. I click over here and I have two options over here, short date and long date. I think for us, let's pick the short date, and now all of my dates look similar, which makes it easier for me to compare them with each other and also makes my data look a little bit more presentable. Similarly, over here, if you look at my years of experience, you can see that some of these values have 2 decimal points, while some go down to many, many more decimal points, and far more than we need to really compare somebody's experience, within the company. So what we can do over here is again select all of these cells, and either you can click on this comma sign, which will default them to 2 decimal points, or if you want less than that, then you can even click on these buttons over here to reduce the decimal points further. I think for our use, a single decimal point is more than enough, so that's where I will stick to that. And this is how you make sure that all of your formatting is consistent. This will just make your sheet look a lot more readable, a lot more presentable, and ultimately a lot more professional. Now this next mistake is not really a mistake per se, but something of a sort of an oversight, or I would say rather a best practice that you should follow while working with data. And this is how you deal with missing values. So firstly, noticing the fact that you have missing values in your data, and then seeing how you deal with them and what these missing values mean. Looking at our own sheet, we will illustrate this by looking at, again, the years of experience column. And you can see that I have 3 cells. The first one is blank. This one says #NA. And the third one says not disclosed. So again, 3 missing values. And all 3 of them have been communicated to us in a different way. The thing to keep in mind with missing values is that it's really important to be able to differentiate them from a 0. So it's quite a different case where a person chooses to either not share the information or just has no experience. And you would want to be able to look at this data and be able to differentiate between these 2 people, because otherwise, if I were to just replace all my missing values with 0, it would mean that these people, and Donita over here, for example, who is a senior manager, has 0 years of experience. So clearly that is not correct. And depending on the data type that you have, I would request that you either convert all of your missing values to blanks, or you convert them into a string which says not disclosed, so that it is very clear for you when you're reading it that yes, this value does not exist. In our case, I will just delete the hash NA and I will delete the not disclosed, and that way all my missing values are consistent with each other. So it's not that you can often fix this error by putting the values back, and perhaps if I was an employee of this company, I could have called up these people and got this data from them and put their values over here. But let's say I'm working outside and I'm working with some external data that I have no more access to and that I cannot enhance, in which case all you want to do is you want to make it a consistent way of capturing missing values. And that's what we've done over here by deleting the various different ways that the missing values were communicated to us. This next one is another bane of any person who's working with data. I particularly think that this one is quite easy to fix, and as long as you have the right hygiene in place and you're able to build the right pipelines, this is a mistake that you can prevent right from collection of data, the way it is stored, and then you will not need to spend this much time fixing it in your own spreadsheet. And this is our mistake number 8, which is you don't have a master list of values. Let's try and understand what that means in our Excel sheet. So here, if you look at this Excel sheet, I have the gender, and this is the column that I have used to illustrate this mistake. And you can see that the gender of a person has been written in 2 different ways. So the first one is by just the first alphabet, which is M or F, and the second one is male or female. Now, it's important that we realize that when we have these different values, for Excel or for any spreadsheet software, these are different from each other. So as a human being, I know that M is the same as male, and in my head, I can equate these two. But spreadsheet software will not be able to do that for you. So if you were to, just maybe, do a quick count of the number of males in this organization, you would only get 1, because there is only one person who's been classified as a male. And if you were to do a count of, let's say all the people whose gender is M, then you would get a different number. And both these numbers would be inaccurate. This is something which is a common error, which can be easily fixed by making sure that such kind of classification attributes are only able to take values from an overall master list of values. So ideally, what you would want to do when you're setting up some kind of a data collection pipeline is that you would like to define that for this attribute, so for example, for the gender attribute, the values can only be M or F, or alternatively, male or female. Similarly, if you were to look at country, you could have had a similar problem over here, and perhaps USA could have been written as United States of America, or only America, or US. Similarly, India might have been represented as IND or IN, and you would have had a similar problem in this field. So make sure you always have a master list of values. This will make it very, very easy for you to have consistency within your data. So let me fix this quickly. I think let's just go with the single letters, because it's an easier change to make. So I'm just going to replace these complete words with the letter M's and F's. And actually the thing that I want to illustrate over here is that this is a really hard error to catch when you have a large amount of data. Well, because this sheet has been prepared by me to illustrate these mistakes, so therefore I'm able to spot it quickly. I'm the one who put these mistakes there. And but at a quick reading, you would not have been able to spot it just on your own. So if you see my designations field, I have 2 ways of capturing senior manager. So this one says senior manager, and this one says SR manager. Again, inconsistency, and it will mean that I cannot accurately count the number of senior managers that I have in the company. So let's fix that as well. I'll just copy senior manager over here. And I've actually made a similar mistake in the junior analyst cell over here. So I'm going to just fix this as well. So again, be really, really careful with these master lists of values. They will make your work far easier because these kind of errors are really difficult to fix. And when you have a lot of data, they can really pile up on each other, and you will end up spending a huge amount of time just cleaning up your data for analysis. Now this next one is again not a mistake per se, but rather a good practice to follow, and it will make your data much easier to read, a lot more presentable, and it will also make it easier for you to perform operations when you are working with a lot of data. And this is mistake number 9, which is you don't format your table. Let me show you what this means on our Excel sheet. If you look over here right now, these headers, which are right on top of the sheet, have not been demarcated in any way by the rest of the data. You don't have any way of quickly reading across rows. So as you move your eyes, sometimes you might find that your sight of eye is moving up or down. And an easy way to fix this is to just select your data, and you can either press Control T, or you can say Format as Table. And let's pick something which is easy. How about this one? And when you click on that, it will ask you, where is the data for your table? That is the selection that I've made over here. And then I'm telling it that, yes, my data has headers. So I say OK. And now you can see that my table has been formatted beautifully. So I'm able to, just by looking at it, differentiate where my headers are. And I'm also able to quickly read through long rows of data because alternate rows have been colored differently. And there are so many formats which are available to you over here. Because this is just a course where we are talking about these mistakes, I'll not really go into all the benefits of working with tables, but suffice to say that data formatted as a table just makes it much, much easier for you to perform operations. And finally, we come to the last mistake. I would say this is the most catastrophic mistake that each one of us would have made at some point of time or the other. It can cause a lot of heartburn, a lot of tears. And all I can say is that, I hope you never have to deal with something like this. And this mistake is that you don't take backups. The fact is that, our laptops are, machines that we cannot necessarily rely on. And even the softwares that we work with can be quite glitchy and buggy. And sometimes, things can crash, things can hang. So it's really important that you take backups of your work. You save your sheets at periodic times. And if possible, also have some kind of like an online backup which is stored in a cloud. Just a simple thing like this can save you hours and hours of work. It can save you from days of just absolute catastrophe where you're repeating things that you have done before. And you could actually end up losing extremely valuable data if you don't have a backup. So if there is one thing that you take away from this entire course, it would be this one, which is please keep a backup of all your data. And this brings us to the end of the course. So let's take a quick recap and go over 10 things that it's really important that you should do before you dive deep into any kind of data analysis. And before I go over this list, I just want to say that each one of us who has ever worked with any kind of data in any kind of spreadsheet software has made one or more, and most probably all of these mistakes at least once in their life. So here is my end of the course advice for you. Make sure you always look at your data before you start working with it. Label all your columns with distinct and descriptive names. Unmerge all of your fields. Keep your data types consistent. So number values in the number columns, text values in the text columns. Remove unrecognized or corrupt characters because it can make it difficult for you to perform operations. Make sure that your values are formatted consistently. So if you have dates, all of them are in the MMDDYY format or whichever format you prefer. The months are labeled either as words or as numbers. And overall, there is some kind of consistency in the way all the values are being presented. If you have missing values, make sure that you understand that they are missing and you're able to distinguish them from values which are supposed to be 0. And also keep all your missing values represented in a consistent way. Wherever possible, try and reference values from a master list of values. I cannot stress enough how painful it can be to fix data where you have repeating words but they do not have a master list behind them, because it is so easy for us to make simple mistakes while typing data in. You can have spelling mistakes, you can have different ways of referencing a particular country, for example, and while not incorrect, it will just make it extremely difficult for you to work with this data. So wherever possible, have a master list of values. Use the table format whenever you can, because firstly, it makes your data a lot more presentable and easy to work with, but also it will allow you to perform a lot more operations in a very quick and systematic way as you work with your table. And then finally, make sure you have backups. The amount of tears and the amount of frustration that is caused by a crashed Excel sheet, or maybe some kind of loss of data due to a problem with your computer, can be extremely annoying and so easy to fix. So here is a summary of some of the things that you must build the right habits for before you start working with data. I have personally made each one of these mistakes, not just once, but multiple times. And don't feel that people who are experts in Excel never make these mistakes. We all do, but it's just important to keep getting a little bit better at it and being aware that these are the mistakes that you're making so that you can fix them in the future. So I hope you have a great journey in your career in data, in Excel, in spreadsheets, in analytics, whichever direction you're headed in. And I hope this course was a bit useful to make this journey easier for you. Thank you for joining us and have a good day. I hope you found the course useful. At the end, I just wanted to add a little bit about how you can use this course for other things than just fixing your data. And what I wanted to talk about was using these tips to set up better pipelines for data collection. And what I mean by that is essentially preventing the problems before they occur. Let me illustrate this by an example. I would say that the mistake which I said is really frustrating for me, which is the absence of a master list of values. Now, why does something like this happen? Let's say we are working on a survey and we are asking people about which country they are from. Now, given the context that you're in, and let's say we are running this survey within our own company, and we know that most of the people in this company are from a few locations. Now, ideally, as an HR analyst, what I would recommend to you is that when you are designing the survey for anyone to run, you should link this cell to a master list of values. So essentially, the only values allowed in this cell should be those which exist in this master list. And by doing that, what you can do is you can sort of restrict the kind of input that you can get. So that will allow you to firstly prevent all the other issues that can occur, which could be due to spelling mistakes. It could be due to referencing a country in different ways. So for example, like I said, USA could be written as America, US of A. There could be like dots between it. And all of these, while correct answers, are just going to increase a lot of pre-processing work for you. So one way is for you to link your survey form to or any data collection system that you're building to some master list of values. Another thing that you can do, which a lot of these software support, so for example, Google Forms has this option, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Forms has this option, and many other survey forms allow you to do this, which is to restrict the kind of data type that a field can take. So for example, let's say if I'm collecting data about somebody's years of experience. So as we noticed in our own case, there were people who had mentioned the years of experience in numbers like 10.2 years, but there were others who had used text. So I can write 10 years in letters and then 2 months as letters again. And what that does is that because it has changed the data type, I'm no longer able to perform mathematical operations on this data. So what you could do is that, again, when you are building this form, link your data types to such kind of requests for input. And what this will ultimately do is it will allow you to start off with much cleaner data and save you tons and tons of time in getting your data ready for analysis. So just a short bonus video to tell you how this course is not just to fix issues, but also it can help you prevent a lot of these issues from occurring. And I hope you found both the course and as well as this bonus video useful. If you did, then please leave us a review, and of course share your own tips and what are some of the things that you particularly take care of before you start your own work on any kind of a spreadsheet software, Excel or data analysis. So once again, have a great day, and I hope you will join us again soon. Thank you.